welcome to another exciting edition of your program, Turn Up on Canal to English. We continue with our topic we started last week, cohabitation, a growing phenomenon among young people, although there are no official figures. By cohabiting, what good or bad comes out of it? We would be looking at the legal implications. The program is Turn Up Stillness. It's important to share vital issues that concerns a woman and the girl child. Like I said, we continue with our topic that we started last week, which is cohabitation. And with me in the studio, I have a wonderful people. I have wonderful women. I have two beautiful ladies. I'll start with a barrister at law. She is Isabel from Congo. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I equally have Jomo Cecile. She is a social worker. Yeah, equally welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Now, before we get into analyzing the legal implications of what the law says about cohabitation, I want us to revisit some high moments of last edition.
A man will fall in love with a girl and he will really want to marry that girl. But by the time they get to finding out how he's going to go about it, I mean, in terms of bride price, he realizes that it is really not easy. And you know, financial stress and all that. And what happens is that he loves the girl loves him. Before you know it, they are living together, hoping that they will raise money to go and settle down, I mean, properly.
Most of our girls today, they don't want to work. Now they will see an already made man. They are the ones going. They want to show love. And this man actually knows that you're coming for my money. So he also wants to maybe waste you. You find yourself in the house enjoying the money somebody had worked. And then at the end of the day, you find yourself in the street, nothing to show for.
However you want to put it, it's a sin against God. Just that people, some certain things happen in the society and people feel like since it's always happening, let's just be normal. But first of all, it is not normal for two persons to be together who are not, have not legalized their marriage. At least they should start even with the traditional aspect of it.
It is very bad when they turn out it's bad, especially on the woman's side. The women suffer most. Why? Because when you come, if you know that this man is not my husband, know that the car he has is not yours. Okay, the house he has is not yours. So if you're not fighting for yourself, when you work and you do not know that, okay, I have a future, because tomorrow he may take a different wife and then you find yourself as a girlfriend.
It's what is holding her there.
Exactly.
Something maybe she already has children with this man and she feels that if she goes, she's a loser, and she feels she will continue convincing the man, you know, to get married to her. Some parents too frustrate their children, you know, this aspect of making choices for I want you to marry this man, I don't want you to marry this other person, and before you know it, the girl chooses where to go to, or sometimes follows what the parents have said and finds herself there.
When you live with a man, you should be able to know that you as a woman, you must take responsibility into your hands. Keep telling this man, I am not, you can sleep, what is the difference between staying outside and sleeping with a man and then staying in a man's house?
I don't think by going to live with a man and the man using you, let me put it that way, is the best way. No, it is not. If men who are married, who are legally married today, they loved the women they are married to and they got married. So why would a woman think that it is by cohabiting with that man that love will come or marriage will come? No.
On men, what of us the girls, we do not love ourselves because you don't want to work, you want already made man, then the only thing is to rush there as a woman. You don't even have a ring, but you call yourself the madam of the house.
These men, because they have told the woman that I'll marry you, and sometimes the woman cooks well. Okay, let's start living together, and then trying to work and see how we can go legalize this whole thing. And then it starts like that, and year in, year out, we start making children, and it's like a woman starts complaining. I've seen that kind of a situation where this lady has lived with this man for years and had children, and then finally this lady dies. Now when she died, what happened? The lady's family seized the children. When you are living with a man, just know that you are not secure. At any time, you can just tell that it's over, and there's nothing you can do. You cannot take him anywhere. Men should sit up. Men should equally sit up. The two parties should be serious in this issue. It is either you are getting married to someone's daughter or you're not.
Now, Laura,
I would say women should sit up too. Let's work, because when a man meets you as a working class, he sees some value in you, and that will push him to do the right thing, because he knows without you, something will be lacking.
that was how we saw it last week on Turn Up, women giving their opinion on their experiences on cohabitation. And with me in the studio, I have Barrister Isabel Fomukong and Joma Cecile, who is a social worker. I'll begin with you, Barrister. Now, there's much was said about cohabitation. And now the worry is, when we cohabit, are we married to a man? The question comes back to you. What does the law say about cohabitation? Is there any section of the law? Or let me begin with marriage. What does the law say about marriage?
Marriage is when two persons decide to come together, to live together, to cohabit together. And then they have to sign the marriage. They have to actually sign their marriage, register it, and then they live together.
Now, is there any section of the law that talks about cohabitation?
No, cohabitation is illegal. You have to sign your marriage.
Which means?
What you're doing is illegal.
Now, I want to talk to you, Cecile. Do you agree with her?
Of course, if you're living with a man, for a marriage to be considered legal, there must be a marriage certificate which is signed in the council. So if there's nothing like that, then you are not married to that man. You are illegally living with somebody who is not your husband.
Now, Barrister, does it mean that if the law does not say anything about cohabitation, means let's see it is banned in Cameroon, that it should not exist? Can we put it that way?
Well, what is illegal means it shouldn't exist, because according to the laws of 1981, there is nothing on cohabitation. That is the Statute Registration Act. It's more on marriage. Yes, so illegal means it doesn't need to exist.
Now, but why does government allow the practice to continue? It does not exist, but we find so many Cameroonians and even people around the world cohabiting. Why?
I believe it's a practice that people have been doing year in, year out. They thought it's legal, but now they're trying to make them understand that it's not legal. That's why you have all the arranged marriages now at the council. They're encouraging people to come and marry, those who've been living together, to come up and sign a marriage certificate at the council.
Which means that, Cecile, if you are living under the same roof with a man and you're not legally married, what are the implications?
Well, as she rightly said, as a barrister, there's no legal backing or to punish you or whatever, but the society doesn't consider that marriage, because as she made a statement that I want to reiterate on, the Ministry of Women's and Empowerment and the Family and the Ministry of Territorial Administration, they are into a project. It's a whole program encouraging those who decided to surrender their lives to cohabitation, because they believe that it's a social instinct. They shouldn't use a law to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. You should know that what you're doing is wrong, since it's not documented. So they want to encourage those who've involved themselves in the practice to come out of it, to give meaning to their union by encouraging them to go in for mass marriages, which are being celebrated these days, I think, annually.
Now, Barrister, mass marriages? Is the solution to end cohabitation or this camel stay phenomenon? Let me put it that way.
I think it's a very good idea to end it, but it depends on the people, because most of the time the women are prepared for the mass marriages, but the husbands or their men is actually the problem.
How?
You don't need to force a man to go and sign the marriage. He has to accept to do it. Because in Cameroon, as from the age of 18, we assume people have consent. So if at 18, you people continue to cohabit, and then 30, you're cohabiting, it means there is a problem. So the both of them must agree to sign the marriage.
And now, Cecile, now why will a woman accept to live in a man's house for a very long time, and a man is not taking her, does not want to legalize the union, and she's still there?
Okay.
She keeps on hoping,
yeah,
and it's not coming.
Okay, of course. I think it depends on your upbringing, your moral upbringing, where you're coming from. Because if you are coming from a morally upright family, you can run out of your family to go and live with a man. Because for you to live with a man means you're married to that man, and there is a tradition that has to be respected. If that tradition is not respected, it means you are not married. And somebody with dignity, a woman with dignity, will not do that. And it's because of the fact that we women would think that our solution is living with the man. You are not going to help your family, you are not going to help yourself.
She's living with the man
by
and having
running-
hopes that maybe one day the man might.
Barrister rightly said, a man decides to get married. You just say, if you love a woman, you will toil for that woman and make sure you harbor the woman because you are jealously in love with that person. And if you decide to keep her for years, it means actually because while she's in your house, you are hopping out with other women. And if you go out to find out, you must have signed a marriage certificate with another woman. So the women, I think the problem here is the women. We should know how to raise up our girl children. We need to raise our girl children to have self-esteem. If you have self-esteem, you know that your father has to accompany you to the altar. That's a dignifying way of going into a man's house. And not to go and spend years in a man's house. But what causes all this is out of poverty. We make children, we are unable to take care of the children. We just leave them in the wilderness. It doesn't mean that if you give birth to a child, you just give money for food. That is enough. We have morals to impact on those children. We have values that these children need to copy from the parents. Some even say that I was not taught, so I will not be, I cannot give what I don't have. But you are making an error. Your child should be better than you. If your child is not better than you, then you are failing, and you have to sit.
Now, barrister, can we say like most people are ignorant of the law on marriage?
I so much believe they might be ignorant, because when you look at the from the traditional setup, you might just move in because I've seen your parents, you move in. But when you come to the towns, you don't need to move in. Because of poverty, as you rightly said, a girl will decide to go and live with a man, thinking with time the man might reconsider her and then move to see the parents. Since we have all these traditional procedures to go through before going for marriage certificate, they always wait for these men to meet their own family, to meet the other family. Marriage in Africa is a two-way. The two families must agree. So the time they take to meet, to ask the families to come together, it might take them some time. And going through that procedure, out of ignorance, they're doing the wrong thing, and they find themselves living for years without actually meeting up with the marriage.
Now, when we talk about traditional marriage here, does the law accept that?
Traditional marriage. Actually,
because the man does not take you if you don't sign in court. But if back in the village, he goes and sees your people, can we accept that as marriage? Does the law accept that?
Yeah. It's better than habitation, cohabitation. let me say, like there's a customary court, the traditional courts. When you go through a traditional marriage, there should be a piece of paper to prove that there was something of that nature. Then you can use it somewhere to say, I'm legally married to this person. But the law will not look at that. The law wants you to go another step ahead by going through the council to do this Civil Statute Registration Act. You have to go that way. If not, the state will not recognize your marriage. But traditionally, it's recognized.
So it's preferable to do your traditional marriage?
As
If you don't have money, let's say, if the couple don't have money to move on with?
The statute is cheap. You don't even need to spend any money. It's when
How
you
much
want,
are we talking about here?
at most 15,000 francs will take you for a signature. But what is actually expensive, if they want to go in for a celebration, that's when they have to spend more. And most people want to go for celebration, they forget about the real thing. The real aspect is signing that marriage.
And must the women celebrate? Must they celebrate the marriage? Is that important? What is important?
Is the certificate. I think I should go beyond just us talking of, because marriage is something very delicate that people are taking it for a right. I think there should be a relationship between two persons, because we are missing it all, which is causing a lot of havoc. If there's no relationship, even to have the courage to go and sign the marriage certificate, you will not do it. And that's why many men, since they don't have a relationship, they don't bother about keeping you there for years. So I believe that we should start off by having a relationship with a man, so that he will know. And the girls,
When you start
they
starting
should,
a relationship, what do you mean here?
yeah.
Is it you're starting at the base, there are certain conditions you're putting, or
You
what do
know,
you mean?
you know, you have to fall in love with the man. And it goes also beyond that. I don't know if we have a pastor here to tell us that we have.
Obviously,
We
we're
are
having a pastor.
supposed to. We need to consent. We need to go back to our Creator and ask a series of questions from Him to tell us if this is the right person before we start our arrangements in quotes, because it's hell. There's a lot of problems because we are doing the wrong thing. We are marrying the wrong persons, pairing up with the wrong persons, and of course there will be no happiness. The devil is jubilating.
Now, barrister, now there's this belief out there that if you stay with a man, let's say, for a number of years, the man can consider you the wife, or the wife consider the man the husband. Is there
No.
any section of the law that
No,
talks
there's no
about
section of the law that says that. There's none. There's none. The only thing under cohabitation is the children that actually benefits from it. The parents, I mean, the wife is a
But
woman.
the children benefit if the man
yeah.
recognizes the children too.
Yes.
What if the man does not recognize the children?
It all depends on how the man recognizes the children. Because there are many women out there, under such situation, they just give birth and they go for the Civil Registration Act, they prepare the birth certificate, and there is no recognition, declaration, or judgment. So you stay there thinking the children have been recognized, but one day you realize that the children were not recognized. So it's actually something they have to learn. They don't just stay quiet. I mean, I'm so happy it's a social worker that they are there to educate them, but they shy away from the social workers instead of going towards them. They need to actually educate the public that the social workers are there for them.
And now, who suffers the most
I think
in that type of relationship?
the women. Because they bear the
The
body.
men too will say they do suffer.
Yeah, they do suffer because they carry baggages from one place to the other. you get yourself involved. They say this is not my last bus stop, as they will put it. You get yourself involved. You make a series of children, and what happens? You realize that it's not moving. You want to move on, as you've not legalized the union. You abandon that family because the effect of cohabitation is abandonment, abuse. You start battering the woman. Since you want her to carry her back and
the
leave.
man knows the woman cannot take her anywhere.
Of course.
Yeah,
There's no legal backing.
There's no legal backing. There's
Yes.
no document that obliges him to do so.
Of course.
So he has a right to do just anything.
Yes,
Also-
abuse, a lot of abuse.
If we have to add, a woman's beauty, it fades with time. By the time you go through all those problems in the marriage, the beauty is no more there. When the man throws you out, where do you go to? You move to the village, you're now
You move to your parents. You start from square one.
You start from somewhere,
at the
and
beginning.
if you don't have any sort of livelihood, I mean, you are gone. It's in the village you move to. So I think what we're trying to say is just to educate the women that what they're thinking and what they're doing is wrong, and they're misusing their own bodies. And at the end of the day, they are the people who actually suffer.
The man can marry another woman,
Oh,
or
yeah,
it's difficult
they
for
do
a
it.
woman to meet another man
Just like that.
just like that.
You
And
need
start
divine,
life- start
divine
life all over
intervention.
again.
Okay.
She needs divine intervention. Now, I want to look at the law when it concerns dowry, because that's one of the things women are complaining that most of in the villages, the dowries are just too exorbitant. Now, what does the law say about that?
I think we're still to see that law. The family code has not been produced in Cameroon, and it's still in the drawers. The day it will come out, it is going to help the women, because up to today, the women are suffering.
Now we're having some reactions coming already. Most girls who do not cohabit who are into cohabitation are fools, because a man will only use you as a machine to produce kids. So girls out there should try to hold themselves and practice abstinence. Lawrence in Kumba. The law should punish those men who use or women have children and abandon them later on. We have Nicolene Tanful. She's sending us her reactions from Tiku. The man, Augustine, goes to barrister. Does the law protect women who have children out of cohabitation? You all look wonderful in the studio. Thank you very much. Now, this question has been directed to you. Does the law protect women who have children out of cohabitation?
The law protects the children and not the woman. If the children are recognized, then the law will protect them. But if they are not, then the law will not protect them. So it's always advisable for the women having those kids, either under cohabitation or under concubinage. You know, when you're going out with a married man, that's concubinage. You are a concubine to that man. So if you have any child with that man, the man should recognize those children. It's not okay, like the law has actually been modified now. Within 60 days, you and the man, with a witness, you go to the civil statute register to prepare the baby's birth certificate, and then there's a declaration form that you will sign there that the man recognizes that child. If it's after 60 days, then you go to the court for recognition, and the birth certificate of the child carries that judgment or that declaration on it. So it's like if you have a birth certificate, in front of the birth certificate is all right. You either see declaration downstairs or you turn behind, you see something being mentioned there. Either this child has been adopted or the child has been recognized. It should be there. The women keep on making this mistake. In case of anything, the man goes scot-free.
Do you think at times the man fool the woman that have recognized and there's nothing,
maybe the man doesn't know that he has to recognize the child. Both of them, they are ignorant. But the ignorant actually falls on that innocent child, and the child suffers. So it's good for them to always ask. I mean, to love a lawyer, it's legal. Ask the lawyer, step to the social welfare, ask them, what do I do with my baby? They will tell you what to do, because the outcome of that illegal relationship was not actually the child's fault, but he's the result of it.
Now, in that case, what should the woman do?
Actually, the woman has little or nothing to do, because the children will, of course, bear the man's name. If the man happened to recognize them, they will bear the name. They are shy to come.
I've seen cases where the man recognizes the children and still abandons the children.
Of course, we talk about conscience here. It depends on the man. He's being responsible. If he believes that these children are carrying his DNA and he is his responsibility, he will come around and take care of them. But there's no law that warrant or compel him to take care of those children. But morally, he is responsible because he made the children. I want to throw light on an experience, and what we are facing is women come to us when there is a problem. They don't come in the beginning when they are cohabiting. But when they've gotten a blockage, that's when they start running helter-skelter to get a solution. One lady came to my office one day and came and complained to us concerning the daughter who went looking for a job and could not get a job because they consider her a bastard. Jesus. This girl is 21 years old, and this lady has been living with I don't know how to call them, because they are not married legally, and the man has not gone to see the parents. So this woman is frustrated because the daughter could not get a job. She did not come complaining from the beginning. So I believe that they themselves, they don't even understand the impact of living with a man without a marriage certificate. You have 5 children with a man. You've lived with that man for 25 years without him going to see your parents. I think it's an abuse. Even respect for your own parents who raised you up. We women, we don't have. Because if you had, you won't go to that extent.
Let me ask a question. Does it mean that child's birth certificate carry father unknown, or what was it? Because they were living together.
Yes, they were living together, but the recognition wasn't there, as you explained.
Yeah, but on
they
the part of
established a birth certificate.
Yes.
There was no declaration whether this man has recognized the child, and because they are not married.
Okay, because why I'm asking the question is because in Cameroon, I know there's a law that says no child is a bastard. Now in Cameroon, all children are now, either recognized by the family or what, but they are no more bastards.
If the man does not recognize the child,
yes,
the family can recognize the child.
Yeah, because when you look at the birth certificate, when they say name of the father, and then you cancel it and say unknown, inconnu, it's no more acceptable in Cameroon. Something has to be put there. You know, but now she was living with this man, and these children were born under that illegal setup. I'm sure when they went for the birth certificate, something was written there, and there is no discrimination in course of employment. Actually,
maybe she came up with she made up that story because she wanted to
sympathy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when a child has been recognized by the father, even born out of concubinage or cohabitation, once recognized, he stands on the same footing with the natural children. You have to take care of those kids. And what do? Your civil responsibility. Send them to school, pay their medical bill. So they are now equal with your own children in the house. The only problem I will see is the women in the house, when they come with such children, that the people that will actually fight back. But they have to bear it also.
Which means that, yes.
Yeah, I just want to ask Barrister, what if the man shies away?
If
he decides not
away,
to,
I'm sure
what does the law do?
No, there's an action. You bring an action for that. It's the children. For the children, you bring an action.
Now, if the man does not take care of the children, if the man abandons the children, what
you
happens?
can bring an action for that.
How? What should the woman do then?
You can go to court. You go with the social workers who actually establish something that the man is the right father, and that he should take care of the kids. You could do negotiations of that nature.
Of course.
Yes.
What I'm
if
trying
he
to say,
refuses, then the court will act.
Okay.
Now,
what I'm trying to say is, look at, if we want to look at the realities in the field, I know there's no stated law that you must take care of the children, but out of negotiation, he's compelled to do that. Look at what happens. That man abandons. What legal measures are taken to tie that man down? If we look at that, what we've been going through, where it has been easier for us to manage cases like that, is at the level of the military, because they are strict in the way they manage their personnel. There is a possibility of intercepting your salary so that it goes to the lady. What happens to the other people? This is a businessman. He has nothing to do with the government. How do you cut the salary of that person to give to the woman? Those are realities in the field which If they don't look into it, we are suffering, women are suffering. We will believe that the law is there to take care. Yes, we negotiate. It's not an easy thing. You can't pin somebody down to say, give me money or give a woman money. We've gone to the extent we establish a record that you have to be depositing a certain amount of money for this lady to come and collect every month. I wish I brought one of these records for you to see the realities. We are going into realities because women are suffering. I think something has to be done.
Now, I want us to watch this report by Annette Fiti, a summary on how the government of Burundi is doing to roll back cohabitation in the country. Let's watch this report right back.
The government of Burundi has launched a campaign to moralize the society amidst falling moral standards. Cohabiting couples in the country of President Pierre Nkurunziza have been given until the end of the year to get married or face legal consequences. In President Nkurunziza's Labor Day speech, he stressed the importance of work and family. He said the consolidation of families is the key to the development of the country. He encouraged Burundians to refrain from behaviors that would destroy the family. The president and born-again pastor equally called on married men who have concubines to stop the bad habits. The goal to legalize unions is out to crack down on informal relationships and also to combat population explosion. In Burundi, many schoolgirls get married and men take advantage of women by cohabiting with several of them simultaneously. Though marriage is seen as a patriotic duty in Burundi, one of the poorest countries in Africa, many say they can't afford money to get married. Again, the church and the state see marriage as a solution to the country's population explosion. People cohabiting who fail to get married before this year ends will face the law, though it is not clear exactly what sanctions await them. It is said children born by cohabiting couples would not be eligible for free education and health care, while free marriage certificates would be issued for civil unions, and the nation will organize mass weddings to encourage couples legalize their unions.
Welcome back. We have a man this time around in the studio. He's called Fidelis Agbo, management consultant. You're welcome to Canada English and to a program which talks about women and the girl child. We're talking about cohabitation. Before I get to you, I want to get some reactions, and I would like Barris and Isabel to give you some of what you want as answers. Hello, greetings from Kongsamba. I am living with a lady whom I love. I want to marry her, but her family does not want me. We are planning to have our kids so as to force the parents accept me. Lawrence Ababila, Kongsamba.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Lawrence. If you are above 18 years, the wife is above 18 and you are above 21 years, nothing stops you from signing. Go to the civil register, sign your marriage, and then meet the family later. What is important is the marriage certificate. It's not actually
even
the
as the
bride
parents
price.
don't want.
Yes, the bride price comes after. I mean, when you
So
are adults,
so you think
they can sign. They let them go and sign their
they
marriage.
sign, they live together,
Live
when
together
they
and meet
have
the
kids or
parents
families,
after.
The parents are going to accept
Yes,
the union.
they will.
But we've had other parents who don't accept
Then
it.
they stay. Do you need your parents? You're already adults, so you can continue your life.
Hello, good a program to empower women and tackle albeit a Cameroonian living in Benin. Most Cameroonian women do not know their rights of this program helps them. Thank you very much. Hello, I love the program. I'm writing from Yokatuma. I've been living with a man for 5 years. We have 2 kids, and now he wants to marry another woman. My question is, how can social welfare assist me. We have a social a social expert in the studio, or social worker. She's going to be telling you what you can do to help yourself or get rid of that problem. Now we have a man in the studio, and the first question I want to ask him is that why will a man not marry a woman? Immediately set eyes on her.
I can't answer you directly because we are talking about a man and a woman.
A man and a woman.
And we know people differ in terms of their reasoning, their culture, their way of life, their religion, and their own moral and educational values. So, and marriage is not automatic. Marriage is a status, and it's not something to be treated anyhow. I think I rather prefer to look at it growing gradually through friendship, love, and ends up with marriage. So to me, if a man sees a woman at first sight, I want to marry you, I think it's all about a different
I tell you I want to marry you.
Well,
I tell you that maybe come and stay with me, and then we'll see how this thing works out. At the end of the day, you're just living under the same roof and nothing's happening.
For sure, marriage is not about trying. And we know that if you're ready for marriage and you want to get married, it's for good, for better, and for worse. So whatever you want to taste or you want to try is your headache. I think it's not something sincere.
So who is trying here?
Well, if a man tells you, please come and let's stay, let's do this, give me some time, I think it's not serious. There's no other way of doing it.
No, Barrister, what will you talk about, say about women who just moving into a man's house without the man telling her that I'll get married to you, or because they're in a relationship and she thinks marriage is going to come next?
Well, I say the woman is doing the wrong thing because he's trying, like, pushing the man for the wedding, which is not forthcoming. I will only advise they don't do that. They should stop doing that, because what we're trying to do with our daughters nowadays, or what we ourselves are trying to do, is to empower ourselves. That poverty doesn't take you to a man's house.
Is it all about poverty?
It should be poverty. If a woman has had livelihood, she can work, she has a good salary, she will not move into a man's house.
We have women from a wealthy background who are into that situation. We have other women who are working and they're into that situation.
There's a trend. For a young girl, she will move there because of deceit. She will go in.
Who is deceiving her?
The man or the boy will be deceiving her to go into such a relationship. And before she realizes it, she's still naive. She goes into it. But for the older women working, they need a partner. So sometimes the men that will move to them.
The relationship.
No, sometimes the men that will move into their own houses. Not the women moving into their own houses. I mean, you will not meet a woman at 45 trying to go into a man's house. No. But you find a man moving into a woman of that age, going into that woman's own house because she has already made it. You get it? So for the younger girls, we'll beg them. Now, women are coming up very strong in education. They have good jobs. They will not mess up.
Can we say the women don't have confidence in themselves?
The older women never had, because, I mean, they were just growing up and they were preparing them for marriages. But the younger girls nowadays, they have real esteem for themselves, and they're not going for that.
Now, I want to ask Mr. Fidelis, why will a man feel comfortable living with a woman when he has not legalized the union?
Permit me say, if you think a man feels comfortable, I think it's a woman who is more comfortable. So because if the woman makes the man think it's normal, then the man will be happier. But if she makes the man knows that what you're doing is not correct and sits on it every day, sincerely, there are two things: they either separate or they do the right thing. So I figure that we know a lot of things have happened in this country, we cannot pretend, and in the world. We know the value of women and the force of women. When they want something, they go for it, they prepare for it, and they get it. So I can find it for women who know, they can accept here that even most of the things that have happened in families, great things, has been orchestrated by women. But now, if they accept their heart at a certain level to outbeat their intelligence in terms of sense, because there's a sentimental issue, then they are playing the card. For sure, a woman in mischief is wiser than a man.
Now, we've had women who continuously tell their men, please, let's go and do something, that even women will take their salaries and give to the man, go and pay my tariff, let's go to court and do this, and the man still refuses. Now, why? At least you're talking with your friends.
Because there's no love. You see, you can't buy love. That is why I also think that even with
why don't you send the woman away if you don't love her? Why do you live with her and pretend you love her?
I think the answer is clear. If you give a man money to go and marry you and he refuses, that's enough to tell you that you are not needed here. He doesn't need to brutalize or tell you pack it. You see, this love grows gradually, so there is no need forcing. And every woman should know that she has a man out there waiting for her. When you tie and bundle yourself in a home, well, whatever you're thinking, be very careful because it doesn't work out that way. See, so that's all I can say.
Barrister is blaming the woman.
No, I blame the women. And you know, I remember sometime there's a record by Dolly Parton. My mistakes are not more than yours just because I'm a woman. You know, at the end of the day, when you live with a man thinking he'll get married to you, you are exposed. He sees all your faults. He himself, he has his own faults, but he will not look at his own faults. He look at yours. The family in-laws, we are Africans. Maybe the family, they are rejecting the woman because of her tradition, her culture, her religion. There are a lot of things. I think I only advise the women, at this point in time, we should prove tough and refuse cohabitation and concubinage. We refuse all those things. And the men will come for us this time to sign that marriage.
Now, what is your experience when you met your own woman? How did it happen?
Well, for sure.
Did it happen so fast? For how long did you live together before going to make it legal?
Well, I want to think that it's been going gradually and it's still going. Permit me say, love is not something that rushes, it grows. And when it gets to marriage, since we are talking, the aim is encouraging people to do the rightful thing by getting married. You see, marriage initially, you still have differences. But as you grow, and if God blesses you with years to come, you start thinking. Because it's an issue of being compatible. You start reasoning, sharing your visions together. And sometimes it's not about the sentimental aspect. You move to a different level. You see, so I figure it is something that people need to be very careful. Most often than not, they get into issues which I should look at it more in the area of sex abuse. You know, it's not something real. And if somebody really loves you, the person wouldn't want to hurt you, wouldn't want to do what you would not like. You see. And
now there's this contract marriage out there, and most people believe that you meet a man you don't love, and love grows.
Well, I cannot say contract marriage. I also know of some customs where they just choose a woman and they marry. But permit me say, here it is beginning to reduce. Before, you married a woman somewhere in a community and just inform the man, we have had a woman, we have done everything. And sincerely, we cannot say it was wrong because most of those marriages also prove to be successful. Maybe they studied the guy and then the lady is groomed for a relationship. And at that time, the African values in terms of culture, there was respect for cultural heritage. So if your father too tells you or your family has decided, you found it a bit difficult to go against it. But today, in this kind of a relationship, we are saying that we are adults, we have capacity, and we do things. And where are the families? And most often than not, it isn't only these couples that are cohabiting. It is both families, the families for the woman and for the man to ask, but what is happening? This thing is getting out of control. Because somewhere, the man too is being a disgrace to his family. You see, so the woman too, same. I think that it is high time, no matter what the law talks of capacity, for families to also tell them, if you don't want to do things rightly, be careful. And maybe help them alongside all the lawyers and social workers for them to do things right. I think it's high time we all sit up and do it. We are all born, we are breastfed by women, so we love women, we adore them, but I think that if a woman doesn't really respect herself, she has high chances of being abused.
So what are you telling the men too?
I tell the men for sure, responsibility remains the key. If you are responsible, you try to take care of your responsibilities. You try to live responsibly by doing right things at the right time and setting an example for others to follow. And being a man, you are the one to defend the home, to defend the woman and stand by her, not to destroy her. So I think the men should sit up, and any man doing that and hearing this should follow what all is put in place. There are marriages, mass marriages going in, be it in courts, be it in the churches, whatever. And today, the tradition is not too stiff like before. You can start paying. You can agree on how you want to pay your dowry and do it. So we should all condemn all those acts of improper way of life, which is not good for family welfare.
I want to thank you for throwing more light on it. And I want to get to you, Barrister, now. Can we blame parents for this practice or this phenomenon that is growing in society today?
I don't think...
Because the parent will see the child in that situation and he allows the child to continue in that marriage.
The child is not a minor. The child is an adult. So how do you blame the parents? The child is an adult. The parents cannot force them to do what they don't want to do. So they can decide on theirs to stop such a relationship. I mean, you look at the other African countries, the rate of cohabitation in Cameroon is serious. That something has to be done. Like, let me see, I schooled elsewhere. When you talk to a lady, she asks you, what are you talking of? Do you want to marry me or just friendship? As from 18 years, you can't be talking to a girl to come on, I mean, just for friendship. There must be something behind that friendship. I like you because I want to marry you, not just I like you. What is I like you? You continue your route, you get it? So it all depends on how they are actually educated. Is it just going out with men freely? You know, and if you look at in Cameroon, it's like that idea of just going out is encouraged by the government. If the government had to put some measures, I'm sure they will stop or they will reduce cohabitation. And I just pray that one day the family code will come out. With that, I'm sure most ladies will be protected and all this will actually have stopped.
Now, have more reactions coming in this time around. There's a question. Cecile, maybe she can answer. Hello, I love the program. Writing from Yokatuma. I have been living with a man for 5 years. We have 2 kids, and now he wants to marry another woman. My question goes to social welfare. Assist me.
Wow.
Can you assist her?
Yeah.
Can you get her out of the situation?
The deed has already been done, and actually, it's now our brother said very pertinent things. Men should be responsible because it's out of irresponsibility and lack of dignity that you take somebody's child and start living with the child without legalizing your union. Of course, these children become victims. I don't know. At this point in time, you can't force love because one person can end up his life. Experience has shown that. So the only thing she has to do is to withdraw and go towards a social welfare center for them to establish a contract for the man to be taking care of his children. That is his responsibility. He is not responsible for you because he is not married to you. So he is not obliged to take care of you. It's the children. And it depends too on him. Is he willing to do that?
Now, Barrister, last words to women. We're getting out of time already. What's your last word to women?
Well, I think I will start by congratulating the women for being who they are today, and that polygamy might have opened the door for cohabitation and concubinage, because you always have that hope that one day they will sign your own certificate. I will beg that they should even deter polygamy. We shouldn't be second-class citizens. We should be pushed to the wall, and we should not accept cohabitation. We should learn to have our own husbands.
Now, we want to thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you.
And to you all, those say thank you for watching. To take another rendezvous same time next week when it's exactly 7 p.m. Bye.